Hello, this is Dr. Nuke. Right now, I want to talk with you a little bit about how I've met people from communist countries. Yes, when I was a child, elementary school age, my father, we lived in Rockville, Maryland at the time, suburb of Washington, D.C. My father worked at the Bureau of Radiological Health in Rockville, Maryland, and at the time was acquainted with a visiting scientist from Poland, Dr. Jerzy Zenyuk. Anyway, Dr. Jerzy Zenyuk was from Warsaw, and remember, Poland at this time, this is in the 1970s, was still a communist country. But the communist regime had allowed the Zenyuks, not just the doctor, but his wife and their son, who was my age, they allowed them to leave Poland to come to the United States temporarily. I think they were here for a year. And then they went back to Poland, according to plan. Dr. Zenyuk did come back again to America to visited us when we lived in St. Johnsbury back around 1983, I believe it was. Yeah, it was my high school graduation, and he attended it, yes. Yeah, he came back again to visit, but then he went back to Poland. So there's them, the Zenyuks. Also, there's a family that lived in St. Johnsbury, and they were from Hungary, communist Hungary. Their story of escape from Hungary was when they left their home, they left everything as if they were there. They didn't even turn off the radio. They left the radio on so that no one would notice them leaving. And so they slinked out, and they managed to get across the border into Austria to safety. That was them. And when I was in college, this was when I was visiting up in the summertime between semesters. I wasn't living in the college I went to was Johnson State College, Johnson, Vermont. I wasn't staying in Johnson that summer, but I went up to visit some people that I knew, some friends of mine that were up there still for the summer. And staying with one of them, a friend of mine, who later went on, sadly, to commit suicide, but there was a person from East Germany, and they were always on the run from American officials because she was in the country illegally. Apparently, that was the situation. So there's that. East Germany, if you recall, was the former German Democratic Republic, as it called itself, or Deutsche Demokratische Republik. German Democratic Republic. It was communist, almost Stalinist. It really was quite repressive. Remember, Germany was divided after the end of World War II, and East Germany became the Soviet-dominated part. Yeah, they were under the thumb of the Soviet Union, the so-called Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. But they became free, finally. The people in Berlin spontaneously rose up and tore down the wall, the Berlin Wall, which had been a symbol of communist tyranny for decades. And the East German regime came down soon after, and Germany was reunified. Well, anyway, let's see if I can think of any other people from communist countries. Oh, yes. My parents lived in Los Alamos, New Mexico for quite a few years. My father worked at Los Alamos National Laboratory in New Mexico, Los Alamos, New Mexico. And they lived at a variety of addresses in Los Alamos County. But when they were there, on at least one occasion, this was, I believe, back in the late 80s, early 90s, maybe, they hosted for either Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner, I forget, Chinese people that were in Los Alamos from communist China. Yes, they were in Los Alamos, New Mexico. They were not illegals. They were here with the permission of the U.S. government. They were some kind of a visiting science thing, like with the Zenyuks. I don't know exactly. But anyway, I remember my mother mentioning and showing me a photo of a bunch of Chinese people they had over at their house. I think it was for Thanksgiving or Christmas. A new thing for the Chinese people to have a traditional American Thanksgiving dinner or Christmas dinner, of turkey and mashed potatoes and gravy and stuffing and pumpkin pie, whatever. Yeah, so these people from China got to experience that. My mother was the cook. That was many years ago. Let's see. Now, here's another little communist tidbit. At a yard sale somewhere, I forget where, and I think I paid $1 for it, was a record. And on the back of it, it's all Chinese. It's all blatant propaganda. And on the back of it, it has both in Chinese characters and in Roman characters. And the Roman characters say Shachia Pang. And the last track on side 6, the record that I have is side 5 and side 6, which means there was a 1 and 2 and a 3 and a 4. The last track is titled Wiping Out the Enemy. And when you play the record, it sort of sounds like gunshots. So that's very communist, the idea of wiping out your enemy by just eliminating them, eliminating your opposition. Naked aggression, naked power. That's the communist, the Stalinist way. And of course, we see a repeat of that to some degree in what's going on in the war between Russia and Ukraine, with Russia having savagely attacked its smaller neighbor, which is heroically defending itself. Let's see. Can I think of other brushes with communism? I don't know. Can you think of any times you've had brushes with communism?
Tell you how many times I've run in with them?
How many times have you had brushes with communism?
None.
Like, have you ever met people from communist countries?
Nope.
No, I guess Joseph has had no experience directly dealing with people from communist countries, I guess.
Not that I know of.
Or not that he knows of. I'm trying to think. Oh, I was walking down a street in Washington, D.C. once. That is the capital city of the United States. And in that city, of course, is where the other countries have their embassies, because it's our capital city. And I was walking down the street, and by chance, I walked by the Soviet embassy. This was way back, of course, before the Soviet Union collapsed. I didn't realize that I was going by the Soviet embassy until I saw the sign. I remember there was a very large camera there. Big, bulky camera. And there was some man dressed in a cloak. You're not going to get this. You're not going to get this, but dressed in a cloak, a fedora, is like this, just like classic Cloak and Dagger spy stuff. Yeah, you really look the part. Yes, in the Soviet embassy, which no doubt was then a center of espionage being committed against us. Likewise, our embassy in Moscow would have been a center of espionage. We did the same thing, I'm sure. But I think the Soviets went to greater excesses with it than we did. Let's see. Well, I guess I can't think of any more such brushes with communism. Well, please like, share, subscribe, comment. This is Dr. Nuke signing off.